That burning in your feet may be your nerves dying long before diabetes is ever diagnosed. Before I go one step further, if you or someone you love is over 60, please tap like right now, because what you are about to hear could help protect a life, maybe even your own. A few months ago, I spoke with a 72-year-old woman named Eleanor, who told me something I will never forget. She said, "Doctor, I can live with wrinkles. I can live with slower steps, but I cannot live with feeling like my feet are on fire every night while everyone keeps telling me my tests look normal." She had stopped going on her evening walks. She had started holding the furniture as she moved through her house. She was embarrassed to admit that sometimes she could not tell whether the floor was cold, warm, or even there under her toes. And maybe you know that feeling. Maybe your legs feel heavier than they used to. Maybe you wake up at 3 in the morning and your feet are burning under the blanket. Maybe you stand up from your chair and for a split second, you do not trust your own balance. Maybe your doctor checked the obvious things, said everything looks fine, but deep down, you know something is changing. Eleanor thought it was just aging. Her family thought it was circulation. One friend told her it was probably her shoes, but it was none of those things alone. What was happening was quieter and more dangerous. Her nerves were being injured day after day by something so common that millions of older adults are living with it right now and do not realize the damage has already started. And if you stay with me today, by the end of this video, you are going to understand what may really be driving that numbness, tingling, burning, weakness, or unsteady walking. And more importantly, what you can start doing today to slow it down and in some cases even improve it. Because this is not just about pain. This is about staying independent, staying steady on your feet, and staying in control of your own life. Peripheral neuropathy is simply a medical term for damaged nerves, usually starting in the feet and legs, sometimes moving into the hands. It can feel like pins and needles. It can feel like burning. It can feel like electric shocks, stabbing pain, or a strange dead numbness like you are wearing socks when you are barefoot. For some people, it is not pain at all. It is clumsiness. It is dropping things. It is walking more slowly. It is not noticing a blister until it becomes a wound. And this is why so many seniors miss it in the beginning. It does not always arrive like a dramatic emergency. It often arrives like a whisper. If you have been dealing with this and nobody has ever explained it to you in plain English before, subscribe now, because this channel is built for people who want real answers and practical hope, not confusion. Here is the first thing most people are never told clearly. For a huge number of older adults, the slow poison attacking the nerves is chronically high blood sugar, even before full diabetes is officially diagnosed. That means you do not have to wait for a doctor to say the word diabetes before nerve trouble can begin. New clinical findings and recent reviews now suggest that nerve injury can start in the pre-diabetes stage, when blood sugar is running higher than healthy, but not high enough yet to trigger the label many people fear. In other words, your body may already be paying the price while your paperwork still says not diabetic. That is the first secret. The second secret is even more surprising. The damage is not only from sugar floating in the blood, it is also from what that high sugar does to the tiny blood vessels that are supposed to feed the nerves. Your nerves are living tissue. They need oxygen. They need nutrients. They need a clean, stable environment. When blood sugar stays too high too often, those tiny supply lines become injured. The nerve is not only irritated, it is undernourished. It is inflamed. It begins to misfire. And in just a moment, I am going to show you why some people feel burning pain while others feel almost nothing at all, because that difference can determine who ends up in real danger without realizing it. Eleanor had never been told this. Her blood sugar had been called borderline for years. Borderline. Such a harmless sounding word. But there is nothing harmless about a warning sign that is quietly starving your nerves. And if what you have heard already is changing the way you think about your health, share this with one person you care about, because most people over 60 have never been told how early this damage can begin. Now, let me explain what is happening inside the body in a way that makes sense. Imagine the nerves in your feet as electrical wires running through your home. Those wires carry messages from your brain down to your toes and back again. Now imagine that around each wire is a protective covering, and next to each wire is a tiny garden hose delivering oxygen and nutrients. If the hose narrows and the wire covering gets damaged, the message starts to flicker. Sometimes it is too loud, which feels like burning, zapping, or stabbing pain. Sometimes it is too weak, which feels like numbness, deadness, or that strange feeling that your feet are stuffed with cotton. Sometimes the signal is scrambled, which is why a bedsheet touching your toes can feel unbearable at night. And sometimes the signal disappears completely, which is even more dangerous, because pain is the alarm system of the body. No alarm means no warning. That is why one person says my feet are on fire, while another says I do not feel much at all, and both can have serious nerve injury. And there is another hidden layer here. Not all neuropathy comes from the same source. Yes, high blood sugar is a leading driver, but this is the third secret most rushed appointments skip over. Some nerve damage that looks like diabetic neuropathy is actually being worsened by low vitamin B12, too much vitamin B6 from supplements, heavy alcohol use, certain medications, or other medical conditions like thyroid, kidney, or liver problems. That means if you are older, especially if you take metformin, have stomach issues, have had stomach surgery, or rely on several supplements each day, you may be missing a reversible piece of the puzzle. Some people are swallowing multivitamins, magnesium blends, or energy formulas thinking they are helping themselves, while hidden vitamin B6 overload is quietly irritating the very nerves they are trying to protect. You have already invested this time in your health, and that matters more than you realize. Save this video right now, because the next few minutes may be the most important part, especially if you thought numbness was less serious than pain. Here is what happens when neuropathy is ignored. First, balance changes. You may not notice it at once. You just start taking shorter steps. You reach for the wall more often. You avoid stairs unless someone is nearby. You stop going out after dark because uneven ground suddenly feels threatening. This is not weakness of character. It is damaged feedback from the feet. Your brain depends on constant information from the ground to keep you upright. When that information fades, your body becomes less certain and more vulnerable to falls. Then comes the foot danger. If you cannot feel pressure, heat, rubbing, or a pebble inside your shoe, a tiny sore can become a bigger wound. And in people with diabetes, those wounds can heal slowly and become infected. This is how a small blister becomes a clinic visit, then a bandage, then a wound that will not close, then something far more serious. I do not say that to frighten you for no reason. I say it because this is exactly why good doctors care so much about foot checks, and why waiting too long can cost people their independence. There is also the emotional side that no one talks about enough. Chronic nerve pain steals sleep. Poor sleep raises stress. Stress makes blood sugar harder to control. Harder blood sugar control can worsen the damage. It becomes a cycle. Maybe you have noticed that you are more anxious at night because that is when the tingling starts. Maybe you dread bedtime because the minute the room gets quiet, your feet begin buzzing. Maybe you feel alone because everyone around you is tired of hearing about something they cannot see. You are not imagining it, and you are not overreacting. If you have a spouse, a parent, a sibling, or a friend over 60 dealing with this in silence, send them this video now, because information like this can truly change what happens next. But now let us turn toward hope, because there is real hope here. The first and most powerful step for many people is not exotic, expensive, or trendy. It is getting the true cause identified and then calming the daily assault on the nerves. If high blood sugar is the poison, even in its early form, then steadier blood sugar is the antidote your nerves have been begging for. That does not mean perfection. It means fewer spikes, fewer crashes, and more consistency. In real life, that starts with simpler meals and movement that you can actually sustain. One of the easiest changes is to stop eating naked carbohydrates by themselves. By that, I mean a bowl of cereal alone, toast alone, cookies with coffee, or juice with no protein. Those meals can hit fast and hard. Instead, pair the carbohydrate with protein, fiber, or healthy fat. Think eggs and whole grain toast, Greek yogurt with berries and nuts, oatmeal with chia seeds and a spoon of nut butter, soup with beans and vegetables, a sandwich with real protein instead of just bread. That one shift can soften blood sugar surges more than many people realize. The second change is gentle movement after meals, not an intense workout, not something punishing, just 10 to 20 minutes of walking, or if walking is hard, marching in place, seated leg lifts, light pedaling, or a simple chair routine. Small bursts done consistently can help lower after-meal blood sugar and improve blood flow to the legs and feet. Studies and clinical guidance keep pointing back to this because it works in the real world, especially for older adults who need realistic solutions. The third change is to ask your clinician to look beyond the obvious. If you have burning, tingling, numbness, weakness, or balance problems, ask whether your vitamin B12 level should be checked, especially if you take metformin or are over 50 and do not absorb nutrients as well as you once did. Also, bring every supplement bottle you take. Everyone. Multivitamins, nerve formulas, magnesium blends, energy tablets, sleep blends. Ask specifically whether any of them contain vitamin B6 and whether the total amount may be too high for you. This one conversation has saved some people months or even years of confusion. If you are feeling things click into place right now, give this video a thumbs up, because that tells me you are someone who still believes your health can improve, and that belief matters. Now, let me give you a simple daily action plan you can start with immediately. Number 1, look at your feet every day. Top, bottom, heels, between the toes. If you cannot see well, use a mirror or ask for help. Look for redness, swelling, cracks, blisters, thick nails, color changes, or any sore that is not healing. Number 2, protect your feet like they matter, because they do. Do not walk barefoot even in the house. Wear shoes that fit. Check inside them before putting them on. Wash your feet in warm, not hot water. Dry them well. Moisturize the skin, but not between the toes. Number 3, build one blood sugar-friendly plate each day. It does not have to be every meal on day 1, just one plate. Half non-starchy vegetables, a solid source of protein, and a modest portion of starch. If you do that once a day consistently, you build momentum without overwhelming yourself. Number 4, move in a way your body can tolerate. If you can walk, walk. If you need support, use support. If you cannot walk much, do seated exercises, ankle circles, calf pumps, or stand and sit from a sturdy chair a few times with care. The goal is circulation, stability, and consistency, not heroics. Number 5, schedule the right conversation with your doctor instead of a vague complaint. Do not just say, "My feet feel funny." Say this clearly. "I have burning or numbness in my feet. It is affecting my balance or sleep, and I want to be evaluated for neuropathy and possible causes like blood sugar issues, vitamin B12 problems, supplement-related vitamin B6, thyroid disease, kidney problems, alcohol-related nerve injury, or medication side effects." That sentence can change the quality of the appointment. And here is another open loop you need to hear. In a moment, I am going to tell you why the people who feel less pain can sometimes be in more danger than the ones who feel more, and that may completely change what you do tonight before bed. The answer is this: pain is miserable, but pain also alerts you. Numbness can fool you. When sensation fades, you may not feel the friction from a tight shoe, the heat from bath water, the sharp edge of a broken toenail, or the early stages of a wound. So tonight, before you go to sleep, do one thing. Check your feet. Not tomorrow, tonight. Especially if you have diabetes, prediabetes, or years of unexplained tingling. And if this video has given you even one practical thing that helps you protect your future, subscribe and turn on the bell, because some of the most important health truths are the ones people never have time to explain in a 10-minute office visit. I also want to speak for a moment to the person who is scared. The person thinking, "Did I wait too long?" Listen to me carefully. Nerves heal slowly, and not every case reverses, but slowing the damage is a victory. Reducing pain is a victory. Preventing a fall is a victory. Avoiding a foot wound is a victory. Sleeping through the night again is a victory. You do not need a miracle by next Tuesday. You need a plan, the right questions, and steady action. That is how real healing often begins. Eleanor learned that her blood sugar had been running high for years. Her vitamin B12 was lower than it should have been, and one of her supplements contained more vitamin B6 than she realized. Once those pieces were addressed, she did not wake up magically cured overnight. But within weeks, she was sleeping a little better. Within months, she was steadier. She started walking again, first to the mailbox, then to the corner, then around the block with her daughter. And the biggest change was not just in her feet, it was in her face. She no longer looked like someone waiting for bad news. She looked like someone who understood what was happening and finally knew what to do. That is the transformation I wanted for you today too. At the beginning of this video, I promised that if you stayed with me, your understanding of this condition would change. Now you know that neuropathy is not just a random part of getting older. You know that chronically high blood sugar can act like a slow poison to the nerves, sometimes even before diabetes is fully diagnosed. You know that hidden factors like low vitamin B12, excess vitamin B6 from supplements, alcohol, and other medical problems can mimic or worsen it. You know that numbness is not harmless, that balance changes matter, and that daily foot care can protect far more than comfort. Most of all, you know that there are steps you can begin today. So tonight, check your feet. Tomorrow, review your supplements. This week, make the appointment you have been putting off. And before you leave, think of one person you love. Maybe your wife, your brother, your mother, your church friend. Someone struggling quietly and never saying how much it hurts. Send them this video today, not as information, but as love, because that is exactly what it is.